Our Sunday Gospel reading presented to us the 10th chapter of the Gospel of St. Luke. And once more we heard that familiar story of the Good Samaritan. And when we hear this story, we should ask ourselves, what is it that prevents the Levite and the priest from going to help the man who lies in the ditch, who has been beaten? What is it in them that prevents them from helping him? And to what extent do we see this in us, ourselves, in our own hearts? One of the reasons why the priest and the Levite didn't help the man is because he could do nothing for them. He had nothing to offer, the Levite and the priest. He was of no worth to them. And so we see here a glimpse into their hearts in the story. Because they are so full of self-love, they fail to love the man in the ditch. Self-love is dangerous. The church fathers say it comes in two main forms. First of all, the love of glory, the love of the esteem of others, when others flatter us, when we feel we can boast in our accomplishments, the ego when it runs rampant. But also they say it is in the love of the body, not simply a kind of vanity, although vanity plays its part, but love of the body and psyche, a constant desire to fulfill its needs, its wants, pamper the body and the mind, pamper ourselves, seek constant new experiences, give in to all our impulses and desires and wishes. Church fathers say, if we find ourselves tempted to dress excessively or even decorate our homes to excess, it may be a sign to us of this self-love at work in us. And of course today there are Orthodox elders who say even the love of motor cars and expensive automobiles can be an expression of this. So how do we combat this? Well, we bring to mind our own sin, and we live with the reality of God's forgiveness and love for us, remembering that our worth, our value is to be found in the image of God. We are created in the image of God. This is where our value is to be found, in God Himself. And so too, we must see this value and worth in other people. If we begin to fall into this form of self-love, it's very easy to treat other people as a means to our fulfillment, begin to objectify them, make them objects that are a means to our ends. Whether it be financial security, sexual desire, even boredom, a desire for entertainment or friendship. We must be careful not to treat other people as a means to our fulfillment, because this is what the Levite and the priest who walked on by were doing. The man had nothing to offer them. How do we react when people around us can give us nothing? Do we still show interest and empathy for their needs? When we begin to objectify people in this way, we no longer engage with the truth of the person, but we are on a surface level. We begin to relate to them as a kind of caricature of a person. And this can become a barrier between ourselves and them. We are no longer engaged with the reality of the person. And of course, it's possible for us to do this with God. We can create an image, a caricature of God that comforts us, that meets our needs, our psychological and emotional needs. We can carry this around for years, false ideas of God that satisfy us. But just as a caricature can prevent us from meeting the reality of people, so too false ideas of God that may be very comforting can prevent us from meeting the truth of God. God is not there just simply to fulfill us and meet our needs. When we meet the truth of God, it can be painful, difficult. God challenges us. God demands of us to change, to repent, to become more Christ-like. This can be very uncomfortable. And so some people will withdraw, pull back, run away, fall into old ideas of what they like to think of God. But orthodoxy is more than simply intellectual ideas, games. Orthodoxy is the living experience of God in our lives, meeting God himself, the truth of God. So we must test our ideas and thoughts of God against the words in our services, the Holy Scriptures, tradition, the words of the saints and the Holy Fathers. And to love God with all our heart, our strength, and our mind and our strength. When we love God with our mind, we are willing to humble our thoughts. We are willing to lay down our thoughts before God, recognizing when we need to change. If our thoughts are false, then we need to cast them off. To love God is to be willing to change. When we treat other people as truly children created in the image of God, we no longer treat them as a means to our end, and we no longer desire God simply to meet our needs, but we give ourselves to him in that willingness to be changed.